I'm joined now by Perry Wong in San Francisco. He's managing director of research at the Milken Institute. That's a nonprofit think tank. Perry, thanks so much for joining us. The Los Angeles Times a few years back did an award-winning piece about the population explosion. In it, they pointed out that the growth in population is most evident in places where life is the most precarious, locations where people live on the edge of starvation. Talk to me about that problem. Is that one of the biggest issues facing the world as it grapples with this population growth?
I think population growth comes at the time that when the society becomes more stable or diverges more stable and economic activity takes place. That give people affordability, I think, to have offspring. I think we have to recognize that. So I think to me, that actually is a good sign.
Let me ask you about the UN theme this year, investment in teenage girls. Why is that important?
Can you repeat that question again? I'm sorry.
I wanted to ask you about the UN's approach this year. Their theme is investment in teenage girls. Why do you see that as important?
I think education is primary driver, I think, to change the economic condition, and also I think turn laborer into human capital, and hence higher economic growth can occur and also higher per capita income can occur. So those are the critical moments, I think, in building a nation's workforce and to advance to another level of development. So actually, that's the most fundamental elements in sustainable growth.
Yeah, let me ask you about that, because there is a relationship between economic growth, of course, leading to population growth, and then that, in some respects, putting a strain on governments. Do you see that as an issue?
No, I think it's normal. I think we have to recognize, as I said earlier, when the society becomes stabler, and then so daily life can be carried out without threats, and food supply becomes abundant, that would encourage child caring. And so that's a part of the normal cycle. As economic growth advances to a higher level or to another stage, people will look at the cost of childbearing. And so that people change their behavior because opportunity cost is very high. That's through observation by looking at some of the more advanced economies. We tend to find the following patterns. At the beginning of growth, population growth explode, and then later stage, we actually have problem with fertility rates and childbearing age women. So people decide not to have too many kids.
So it levels off at some point.
Correct.
Let me ask you one final question before you go. There's been a lot of writing about this. Looking at China, for example, the economy comes up, there's a population explosion, but more than that, there's this growth in economic benefits, and you see more and more people ditching the bicycle, grabbing cars, and we're seeing this in other economies as well. And then you have the additional problems of pollution. Can you talk to me about how economic growth can create some of the issues, and how do you address those?
I think health is a very important issue. I think aging, earlier in the program, you touch upon that. But I think a lot of those can be assessed through the health condition. Environmental issue is a big one. So you don't want a population aging into a not too healthy, stage. So I think aging is not the big issue in my mindset, because I think if you have a healthy aging population, people can continue to contribute in a very meaningful, purposeful manner. But however, if the population in general carry a not too health condition along with it, then the society will pay at that stage with a very high cost.
Perry Wong joining us from San Francisco. Thanks so much.